inside. Boston going to work. Scores off the backboard. 4 seconds to go. Boston to Hull. Left wing. Fires a three. Good! Hull heads with .3 to go in the third. Woo!
Okay, Danielle, we are in the middle of a winter storm here, and it's not just impacting us, it's actually impacted UConn and their basketball schedule. It's been a few weeks since we've been able to get together for a podcast, but yeah, I mean, UConn was supposed to play tomorrow on Sunday and
Hmm.
ended up having to push the game up. So it's not only cold and rainy or snowy or freezing rain across two-thirds of the country, it's also impacted UConn's basketball schedule.
Yeah, and they actually started out kind of slow today, but and I think they were talking about like the minutes that UConn has trailed all season, and I think it was like 10 total coming into today,
Mm.
and all in the first quarter. And the most was against USC for like 2.5 minutes. But I think Seton Hall, of all teams, actually broke that today, and I think they led for maybe 4 minutes in the first quarter or so. Um, but AZ was scoring early, and they pulled away pretty soon.
Yeah, I think AZ and then Valenzuela for Seton Hall were doing all the scoring there initially, but I think it's kind of tough when a team has a big change like that. They instead of going back home to UConn, they ended up taking a bus directly from Washington, D.C. to um, where is Seton Hall located? I don't even remember where they're located.
I don't know exactly.
Yeah, but just a big wrinkle in the schedule, right? I mean, and sometimes that can be tough. Mom noticed that Chris Daly wasn't in a very nice
Yeah, she was just
outfit.
in her sweats. She
So
hadn't
we
packed a
thought
second. She probably
exactly.
hadn't packed a second game outfit, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it throws everything off a little bit. And so it's kind of understandable that, the first quarter they got off to a little bit of a rough start. But yeah, I mean, by the end of the game, it ended up being quite a blowout. And I kind of looked at, since our last podcast was January 1st, they've had 7 games. Um, Seton Hall twice, St. John's, Creighton, Villanova, Notre Dame,
Yeah.
and Georgetown. So, the average scores over those 7 games has been 89 to 48. So, margin of victory of 41 points a game. And that includes a ranked Notre Dame team. Seton Hall's I think, third in the Big East. They're not a bad team. They've just got
Yeah.
2 losses, to UConn already on the season. And Villanova's a good team as well. And so, but they're blowing out good teams.
Yeah.
And so that seems to be really the story of January for UConn is no close games at all.
Yeah, and even with AZ's been a little cold from three. She shot well today, but it feels like there's been a stretch where she just hasn't shot very well from three, but she's been scoring in other ways and um, impacts the game a lot, whether or not she's shooting the three well.
Yeah. And I mean, it took them a while to get going defensively. They weren't turning over. I think that was part of it. They weren't
Yeah.
really turning Seton Hall over for a while there. And then they got some turnovers going, got some steals, got some buckets. But I think it really, it's Blanca came in again.
Yeah.
And I think things started changing when Blanca came in. But unfortunately, it looks like she came in because Sarah Williams got hurt.
Hmm. Yeah, I saw something about that. It sounds like Gino doesn't think it's a big deal. It was like a knee to the calf or something like that. So nothing like twisted or pulled, I don't think.
Oh, well, if that's the case, that's good. Hopefully, it's
Yeah.
just a little bruise, contusion, whatever they would call it, and it's nothing torn or twisted because I didn't see the contact, so I didn't know
Yeah.
if what happened. I didn't know if it was an ankle or a knee or,
Right.
nowadays, you see a lot of players just go down with Achilles injuries. And I saw they wrapped up her calf, and I was like, oh, I hope it's not her Achilles. I hope it's just the calf. So if it's just a contact to the muscle, that's not a big deal at all.
No,
That
yeah.
should heal quickly. So that's
Yeah.
good. But yeah, I mean, once again, Blanca, is she the most underrated player in the country?
I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah. quite the luxury to have her coming off the bench. And I get why Gino does it, even though I think she is the third best player on the team, but it does help to kind of change the way the game is going, if it needs to be changed. But yeah, it's for like I think she should be in major contention for freshman of the year, but I don't know that she will just because of her minutes.
Yeah, I think she probably won't be, but boy, to me, she's a top 25 player in the country. And, I saw a recent list that ESPN had, and South Carolina had three players on it, and UConn only had Sarah Strong and AZ, and Blanca's Blanca would be starting on South Carolina. I mean,
Oh,
she'd
Blanca
be
would
one of
start
their
on
top
every
three.
team.
Yeah, Blanca would be one of the top three players for South Carolina. I mean, it's just there's a real SEC bias with ESPN because there's a connection with them and the SEC network, and so it's a little bit, uh, they're not unbiased for sure
Sure.
when they do their rankings, and they're going to push the SEC, and the SEC is a great conference, right? I mean, they've got a lot of
Oh, yeah.
great teams, but UConn has had a dominant January. Shooting, I think Sarah is at 60, 41,
Yeah,
90 right now.
it's crazy.
Is AZ at
I don't know if people
50 or
are
did she
I don't
fall
know why
below
people aren't
50?
talking about that. That's like I think we saw something that would be the first time that's ever happened in men or women's college sports. AZ's dropped a little bit. She's down to 49.
49, so 49,
49,
40 something,
44. Yeah, 100
100
still.
still, which is incredible. Hasn't missed a free throw,
Yeah.
which is amazing. So, shooting is the most important thing in the four factors of basketball. Effective field goal percentage is the number one factor that determines wins, and UConn leads the country in effective field goal percentage. And when you got Sarah and AZ taking the most
That
shots, and
helps.
there's
And then KK has been shooting really well. And then Zai Bell has been getting some good minutes and contributing. Kaylee Huckle's playing well. Jana is getting very limited. She's back from her concussion, but she's still getting very limited minutes, but
yeah,
playing really well, it feels like. And it feels
yeah,
like if there's a game in the tournament where they need her to play 20 minutes, she'll do it and, hold down the fort.
yeah, I think so. And um, so yeah, I mean, Sarah Williams, I still think hasn't gotten into the groove of the offense. I think she's a good passer. Um, I don't know. I'm just not impressed with her in the low post. When I see her I feel like she's a little mechanical. Her
Hmm.
footwork, I mean, we were spoiled by watching Mackenzie Holmes at IU, but I feel like, Sarah Strong's got better footwork than Sarah Williams does in the post.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they need to, what do you think about this? Should they keep her in the high post more? Because she is a really good passer. I think she sees the court well, or maybe
Yeah.
cutting up to the high post and receiving the ball there. I think she's good. She's got a decent 15 foot. If a center backs off her, she can knock down that free throw line
Hmm.
jumper. So
Yep.
I don't know. I'm not convinced that they need to keep pounding it into her in the low post, because I
Hmm.
just don't think she's honestly all that effective as a option, like her posting up, trying to force the ball into her. It just doesn't work all that well, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something to think about, but they do just have a lot of options. So,
I mean, they
right.
do. I mean, but she does so many other things well,
Right.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
I just don't think they need to force feed the offense through her in the low post. I would like to see them utilize her much more, get the ball at the elbow, turn, face, you know, pass if anybody collapses in on her, if the offensive play, if her defender doesn't come up on her, take that jumper, get her involved in the offense that way. I think she's better, and then have her crash the boards, right? Have her and Sarah be the two Sarahs crash the offensive. Well, and Ashland's going to crash the offensive board too. But
Right.
you know, I'm just curious because I just don't. I haven't been impressed with her low post play, whereas I've been impressed with so many other things in her game, that I wish they would maybe experiment with her. But I do like that they're starting her. I think you need to do that. Just from honestly, just from getting people to transfer in the future, like you want to do that for her. Start her, let other transfers see. I mean, that you're going to get playing time. You're a Big Ten all Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. You transfer to us, we'll start you. And
Yeah.
so, I think it's wise from a long-term perspective to start her. But I just think they could use her differently. That's been my
Yeah.
observation in January.
Yeah. It also feels like they could hunt shots for AZ a little bit more. It feels like she'll like score in one quarter and then they kind of forget about her and don't really like she was just hitting everything to start the game today and then it feels like she
Mm,
doesn't touch the ball again. But it's not like she needs to, like they were doing just fine. So,
yeah.
um,
But I wish, I don't have a great knowledge about the triangle offense that the Chicago Bulls used to run under Phil Jackson, but when I was watching Seton Hall kind of muck things up with the zone, and UConn struggled for a little bit when they were in the zone at times. Like I'd really like to see them when they have Blanca in to do like a triangle on one side of the court with AZ on the wing, Blanca in the high post, or Sarah in the low post, or vice versa. And then one of them can cut out to the wing. You just have some movement, move the ball, move the triangle around, reverse the ball, some maybe, but then have Sarah and Blanca come across to the post, but they could also pop out to the corner for a three. Yeah, I just think, I'd like to see them maybe try to overload one side of the court with those three, because those three are just hard to defend. I mean, any one of them can attack the rim. All three of them can shoot the three. And if you go to a zone, I'd like to see something like that. And then you have Ashland maybe on the other side of the zone if you need to do a pass over to the weak side, and she can knock down that three as well. So anyway, that was just an observation from the game today. I'd like to see maybe some kind of attacking the zone that way.
yeah.
So any other thoughts about UConn in the month of January?
It was impressive to see the Notre Dame destruction and felt good. It was crazy to hear that Notre Dame's won the last three against UConn. Hannah Hidalgo has been a terror
Yeah.
when they've played, but she's been surrounded by other greater talent in previous years. The last two with Miles and Citron. Although Miles, I don't know if Miles was healthy for all of those games or not, but yeah, they're definitely down a little bit this year. But yeah, they did a really good job, and Hannah had a tough time of it. And yeah, it was impressive.
Yeah. So on to a less impressive. Oh, were you gonna?
Oh, well, the other thing I was just going to say is that it's very good for UConn doesn't have a lot of opportunities left to kind of prove themselves as the number one overall seed. So destroying Notre Dame was very important, kind of for their chances to be that overall number
Yeah.
one.
Well, I did. I was about to hop on to IU, but I forgot. I did do a little bit of digging. I forget the website I was looking at. It said that right now UConn has the number 5 strength of schedule in the country.
Hmm.
So I think the argument for the one seed is fine. For them,
Yep.
it's not going to be a worry. And being the overall
Especially
number
with
one seed.
especially with the SEC teams picking up a few losses.
Yeah. So what would you guess LSU's strength of schedule is right now?
Oh man, right now, because now they're into SEC play, so it'll have gone up, but probably not even top 50 now, right? Probably is it
It's
like top 100?
100. They're
Okay.
100 exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, they played such a weak schedule, and they're projected to have the 48th toughest schedule by the end of the season.
Yeah.
This one website I was looking at, and UConn was still supposed to have like a top 15, top 20 strength of schedule by the end of the season. So if you go undefeated and your margin of victory is 40 points a game, and you're playing a top 20 strength of schedule,
Hmm.
and you're the
And
only undefeated team, you're going to be,
right. And
the
they
one
picked up
overall.
like some of those early wins, like against Louisville, against Ohio State, are looking better as those teams have been winning.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully that'll impact their strength of schedule and improve it as those teams keep on winning. So yeah, so UConn looks solid. I mean, the Tennessee game is really the only ranked team left that they have to play, I think,
Yeah.
and so that'll be a fun game to see. But yeah, on to less impressive teams. Our beloved Hoosiers are
Yeah.
struggling, and I think we asked at one point, can they reach 500 in the Big
They've
Ten?
answered that.
Yeah, looks like a resounding no, unfortunately.
Oh man. And they're only not at the very bottom of the Big Ten because Penn State has played one more game than them right now. So they're both 0 for 8 for Indiana, 0 for 9 for Penn State. So it's been rough. Obviously Big Z being out for that stretch was pretty brutal. They don't have depth at the post, especially with Kodletskova leaving.
Yeah.
Just no depth there. And Shay has still been shooting incredibly. She's still shooting 50, 40, 90 plus, plus, plus. But that's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, they had a really good pre-conference and
Yeah.
they were playing some decent teams. They lost some, but they beat some decent teams. And then Big Z got hurt, and I think that really impacted them. And these past couple of games, they played Iowa really tight and almost had an upset at home. And
Yeah.
then Ohio
Ohio
State
State
this
too.
week. Yeah, I think for 3 quarters that was a close game. I think Ohio
Yep.
State kind of pulled away in the fourth quarter, and it ended up being a double-digit loss. But I mean, with Big Z, they're a solid team. Without Big Z, like you said, they have no post depth. Nguyen is a decent backup, but her being forced into a starting role, I mean, it's just not, she's not good enough to do that in the Big Ten, but she's a
Uh,
decent enough as a backup, give you 10
yeah.
to 12 minutes a game. But
There's
um,
currently 8 ranked teams in the Big Ten. So
yeah,
it's brutal
and
out there.
the second best conference in the country,
Well,
right close to the SEC,
the
very close to
SEC,
the
the
SEC.
SEC only has 8 also, but the SEC's top is a little better,
Yeah,
quite a bit better
yeah,
this year,
quite yeah, it's
with
better.
especially with Juju out.
Yeah. So, I mean, if Juju was playing, you'd have more of an argument probably. But I think the SEC is clearly the best conference, and the
Sure.
Big Ten is clearly the second best
Especially with
conference.
Vanderbilt this year.
Yeah. So there's a story, huh?
Yeah. Shay
For
Ralph, former
yeah,
UConn player and
you
assistant coach.
assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a big story. But yeah, the Hoosiers, unfortunately, I mean, they're not going to make the tourney this year. It doesn't look like
No,
it's.
we were talking about how like obviously Yarden transferring to Maryland was devastating. She was going to be their best player by far this year. Um, but then you also lost La Mandola and Bargesser and Meister to the transfer portal. And I think all of them probably would have started at least at some point this season. So
Yeah.
it's a rebuilding year and Big Z's only a sophomore. Shay will be gone, but
Lene's a sophomore, a redshirt
she
sophomore.
red shirt, yeah. Yeah.
So
So I
she's
mean you
still got
got
2 more years of eligibility.
yeah,
their best recruiting class they've ever had
exactly.
coming in.
Yeah,
They
so you've
got the
got
Australian girl as part of that who's going to have the whole semester to practice with the team. So there's hope.
mhm,
But
yeah.
this year definitely totally a rebuilding year. Yeah, I was talking some with mom and just saying I wish we could see a little bit more Faith Wiseman just to
Yeah.
see. I mean, is there anything there for the future? Because she has size, but she's just not getting any minutes at all. So I don't know if she'll transfer
Yeah.
or maybe she's not good enough to play at this level. I don't know, but
Yeah.
that's been a
Shout out Indian Creek.
disappointing. Yeah, that's right. Um, but before we go on to the WNBA, since we're talking about IU, got to spend a minute. I went with the can't even see my IU shirt, IU hat, and IU
Yeah.
background in honor of IU's first ever football national championship. I never thought I
That
would say that in my life, that IU
no,
has won the national championship in football.
that's crazy. It was so yeah, it was incredible. What a program turnaround.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, coach of the year 2 straight years now, I think. And I mean, it's the greatest turnaround I've ever seen of a sports program. And football's got to be the hardest one to turn around because you have 22 players, right? Whereas
Yeah.
basketball, you only need 5 good players to turn a program around. You maybe even 3, arguably, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and some role players. But I mean, to get that turnaround, what they've done, 28-2 in 2 seasons.
And without the 4 and 5 star recruits and the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. It's I saw somebody. I don't remember where I saw this, but somebody was just talking about Indiana sports movies all talk about the underdog. It's like you've got Rudy, it's a football underdog story. You got Breaking Away, which is based on the Little 500 race at IU every year, where it's kind of an underdog story. Then you got the Hoosiers, which is the most famous Indiana sports movie, an underdog story. And here you've got, just lining up classically with those
Yeah.
underdog sports movies is another real life Hoosiers movie. So yeah, Coach Signetti said after one of their wins, maybe it was after they won the Big Ten championship over Ohio State, said make a great movie. And
Oh, it's coming, I'm sure.
you would think so. I mean, it's an amazing story, a lot of fun. I mean, I got to shout out, Indiana sports fans are really good sports fans, I feel like, and I'm biased, of course, but yeah, they've kind of been long suffering with IU on the basketball scene. We're a basketball state and a basketball school. We love our basketball in Indiana, and you know, we've adopted Caitlin Clark very quickly as a state and love the Fever. And Indiana fans show up, and the Pacers, they support the Pacers really well. And um, yeah, the basketball's just been in a long dry spell with just an occasional really strong team. And you saw it though with the turnout at the bowl games. I
Oh
mean,
my.
how well IU fans
Oregon
traveled.
especially, it wasn't
Oh,
close at Oregon, but
yeah,
even with in Miami, it was clear that
yeah. Well,
the
the
Hoosiers
first
were.
they had four postseason games where and the first one was in Indianapolis, which was obviously very easy for Indiana fans to get to. But we were playing Ohio State, which is right next door, and easy for Ohio State fans, and they've got a loyal fan base in football, and that place was definitely majority. Then the Rose Bowl in California against Alabama, and Alabama is a traditional football school where the fans love from a football state, and the fans love Alabama football. And the Rose Bowl was far and away Indiana red, not Alabama red. And then in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, I mean, it wasn't even close. It was maybe 90% IU fans. And
Hmm.
obviously there's a geographic advantage for IU fans, but still, I mean, 90 to 10. And then to go to Miami, play Miami in their home stadium, and there are more IU fans than Miami fans. I mean, shout out to the IU fans, right? They
Yeah.
they really showed up and
And I saw something, someone said the curse is broken now with the injuries and losing, so we're hoping for the Fever and the Pacers for this next season.
yeah, hopefully so. Yeah. But yeah, just wanted to spend a couple minutes talking. I know we love basketball, but it was just fun as an IU fan who's been a long suffering on the men's basketball side to see IU have so much success, and you could tell from the fan reaction, right? The,
Yeah.
the fans love sports, and they are going to support the teams. So just a lot of fun, and yeah, congratulations to the Hoosiers on a real Hoosiers moment by pulling the upset of the century. Um, but so on to the WNBA. What are the developments there?
Well, they've passed the date for the CBA, so I forget exactly what the term is now, but basically they're just kind of in limbo now. And they're suspending free agency talks, which seems obvious because there's no numbers to talk about who's gonna even consider any conversations unless they know the money that's involved.
Yeah.
Um, and the big thing that happened this week is that the WNBA went ahead and released the schedule for the year. Um, and there's it's with adding the two teams, it changes things quite a bit. I don't think any team plays anyone more than three times. Um, and I think Chicago's just three times this year for Indiana, so maybe the rivalry is over. Um, but and they start out with a Paige versus Caitlin game. But yeah, it will be interesting to see. I'm hopeful that there will be a season. I think it does put a little, it's maybe a bit of a move from the WNBA to release the schedule publicly and kind of get the fans excited and
Mm,
put a little pressure on the players to come to an agreement to give the fans what they want.
yeah, that could be a little bit of a PR stunt by them. But Yeah, what and didn't Stewie have some quote though that
Yeah,
she's
she
said?
feels like she's starting to
Yeah.
see the light at the end of the tunnel or something like
Yeah,
that.
something like
So
that. Yeah. So
hopefully.
hopefully they can get this done.
And
And then
there's
what
also at least the idea that the WNBA is exploring buying back part of that 16% capital raise that Kathy did. I think it'd be very expensive and hard to do, but I think that should be a goal. And hopefully they can get it into the CBA that over the next X number of years, they start buying back as much as they can. Because it's really, they're in a tough place. We're only owning 42% of the league. So if they can get that back,
yeah.
buy back 4% a year over the next 4 years or something like that, that would put them in a much better position going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And what about Unrivaled? I've really only with IU
Yeah.
football, that's kind of been taking up winter sports watching for me that I wouldn't normally have had historically. So I haven't had a chance to watch much Unrivaled. Anything you've seen of interest?
Yeah. Um, so Paige's team is really young, and it's kind of like what would have been if LA had gotten the number one overall pick last
Mm.
year, because she's with Cam Brink and Rakia Jackson, and that's
Hmm.
fun.
Yeah.
They're good. They're young. They also have Dom Malonga, who's very young, and they have Kate Martin and Ari McDonald. Ari's injured. Hopefully it's nothing too bad, so she's been out, but. They've done pretty well. I think they're 3-2 so far. And Paige won the free throw contest and is donating her went the $50,000 winnings to like a relief fund in Minnesota. So that's very Paige of her.
Mm.
But so far the Laces, which has like Jackie and AT, are on top.
Okay.
But the Rose won last year and they started out well. Lexi's on that team. Copper was out injured the first 3 games, and Lexi was starting, and they won all 3 games. And then Copper came back, and they've lost the next 3 games with
Oh,
Lexi out of
wow.
the starting lineup and
Uh-huh.
Copper in. So Lexi is one of those players that not I'm not saying that there's a direct correlation there or anything, but Lexi certainly does impact the game way more than the stats show.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. And she's hopefully going to be re-signing with the Fever and
Hopefully. She's a
yeah.
restricted free agent as long as that stays in the CBA. So hopefully we get her and Boston and Kelsey. Oh, Kelsey's been doing well. Her team has not been winning games, but it's a new coach to Unrivaled, and all of the players are new to 3-on-3 except for Heidemann, who's just like a relief like injury player last year. So it's like
Okay.
they're all very new to it.
Mm.
But it's a good format for Kelsey, and Boston has been playing really well. She's so good. And
Yeah.
apparently I saw she and Candace Parker have a podcast and they had Kelsey Plum on. And apparently Kelsey's helping Aaliyah control her crash outs because Aaliyah can get you
Yeah.
know, Aaliyah can take herself out of situations
Yes, she
sometimes.
can. Yeah.
And Kelsey Plum has been working with her on more positive self-talk and stuff. So
Okay. All
Aaliyah's
right.
promising no more crash outs in the W season. So
No, well,
we'll
very
see.
good. Yeah. All right. Well, anything else to touch base on then?
It was Caitlin Clark's birthday this week. She turned 24.
Oh,
So yeah, happy
well,
birthday,
happy birthday,
Caitlin. And
CC. Yeah.
yeah, it's also nice that so Boston and Caitlin are both 24. So we just have like two very young superstars in Indiana. And then we have like the vet and Kelsey Mitchell and quite a few other good pieces. So things
Yeah.
are looking good for Indiana as long as we can get a
They,
season.
yeah, that's right. Well, hopefully that happened. And hopefully, UConn can finish this season undefeated and, hopefully the Lady Hoosiers can kind of right the ship a little bit and get some wins in the Big Ten. But in the meantime, everybody stay safe and warm who's getting hit by this storm, and we will see you next time. All right. Well, I think that's it for the W Hoops podcast today. Everyone, please be sure to subscribe and leave a comment or review, and we'll see you next week.